Jessica held her baby tightly. Her heart was racing. Papa Jonathan stood at the door, whispering some strange prayers. It was exactly 2 a.m. Suddenly, the wind howled, the light flickered, and a shadow moved outside the window. "Open the door, Jessica," the old woman whispered. "No, no, I won't," Jessica cried, backing away with her son. Papa Jonathan stood firm. "She has come. This is the last battle." The baby screamed louder. Jessica's whole body shook. "God, help me." Outside, something scraped the wall. It scratched, hissed, and cried like a baby and an old woman at the same time. Jessica didn't understand how her life had gotten to this point. She was a peaceful woman. She only wanted to be a good wife and mother. But something evil had entered her home, and it all started the day she found out she was pregnant. Everything was perfect that day. Jessica remembered it clearly. The doctor smiled and said, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." She had laughed, cried, and danced on her way home. She made Nathan's favorite meal and waited for him. That evening, he had lifted her up and kissed her belly. "We are going to be parents," he shouted with joy. But they didn't know that someone else had heard the good news. And that person was full of envy, darkness, and hatred. From that very moment, their happiness was being watched. Watched by a spirit in the form of a woman, waiting for the right time to strike. And when the time came, all it took was a simple touch. After the good news, Jessica's life felt like a dream. Nathan became even more loving. He touched her stomach every night, talking to their unborn child like the baby could hear. "You're going to be strong, just like your mother," he would say. Jessica, full of joy, still ran her grinding business outside their house. She didn't want to be idle. The whole village loved her. She always smiled, always helped. Then one hot afternoon, while grinding peppers, a stranger approached. She was an old woman with dry skin, torn clothes, and a shaky voice. "Please, my daughter. I haven't eaten." Jessica looked up and gave her a small bowl of rice and 50 Nigerian nairas. "God bless you," the woman said with a strange smile. Her eyes were cold, but Jessica didn't notice. From that day, the old woman came every few days. Jessica always gave her something: money, food, even some of her old wrappers. Even when money was tight, she still gave. Nathan once said, "We need to be careful. Things are changing, Jess." "I know," she replied, rubbing her stomach. "But what if this woman has nobody? I can't turn her away." The old woman returned again. This time, Jessica explained, "Mama, things are hard now. We have a baby on the way. Please understand." The woman said nothing at first. Then she smiled, stepped closer, and gently touched Jessica's stomach. "Ah, a boy," she said quietly. Jessica smiled, thinking it was just a kind blessing. The old woman turned and walked away slowly. That was the last time Jessica ever saw her. Jessica never knew that something evil possessed her unborn child after that touch. Something invisible. Something evil. That night, the baby kicked so hard it woke Jessica from her sleep, screaming. The pregnancy became strange after that night. Jessica began to feel weaker. The baby kicked too hard, sometimes like it was angry. She woke up sweating, hearing whispers, but no one was there. Nathan noticed. "You're too tired lately. Let's go for another checkup," he said. At the hospital, the doctor smiled again. "The baby is healthy. Nothing to worry about." But Jessica didn't feel okay. Still, she stayed strong. She continued grinding, cooking, and preparing for her baby. Nathan worked harder too. They painted the baby's room sky blue. Bought little clothes. They were ready. Then the time came. Jessica went into labor one cold morning. Her screams echoed through the house. It lasted for hours. The nurses said they'd never seen such a difficult birth. Jessica almost lost her life that night. It was a very strange night. Nathan prayed outside, crying. He begged God not to take his wife. Finally, after a long, Painful night. Jessica gave birth. A baby boy. They named him Matthew. But from the moment he was born, the room felt heavy. Matthew didn't cry like normal babies. His eyes were dark and wide. He coughed constantly, and his skin was too cold. Jessica felt it in her bones. Something was wrong. Days passed. Then weeks. Matthew was always sick. They spent everything they had: hospital visits, medicines, blood tests. Nathan started to borrow money. Jessica sold her grinding machine. But nothing helped. Their happy home slowly turned into a place of pain. They no longer smiled. Jessica stopped laughing. Nathan sat in silence. Neighbors who once admired them now whispered, "Ah, what happened to that happy couple?" Jessica would hold her baby and cry. "What did I do wrong, Lord? What did I do?" Then one day, Matthew stopped breathing, and the room went ice cold. It was midnight when Jessica woke up to silence. The usual sound of Matthew's coughing, his shallow breaths, his whimpers, they were gone. She sat up fast. Her heart dropped. "Matthew?" she whispered, rushing to his mat. The baby's eyes were closed. His chest wasn't moving. His lips were pale. Jessica screamed, "Nathan!" Nathan ran from the sitting room, panicked. He grabbed the baby. "Matthew! Wake up! Please wake up, my son." Jessica dropped to her knees, praying, "God, no. Please, not my baby. Not my only child. Not after everything." They rushed to the clinic barefoot, in tears, carrying Matthew in a wrapper. The nurse on duty took one look at the child and panicked. She began to work quickly, pressing his chest, giving him oxygen. For 10 long minutes, nothing happened. Then, Matthew gasped. A long, deep breath. He opened his eyes and began to cry. Jessica fainted in relief. Nathan held her. The nurse sighed, "You're lucky." He stopped breathing, but something pulled him back. But Nathan didn't look relieved. He was staring at his son, confused. Why does it always feel like death is fighting for him? The nurse looked up. "Have you prayed about this child?" she asked seriously. Nathan nodded slowly. "Every day. But it's like something stronger is fighting us." They returned home, exhausted. Bills piled up. Nathan borrowed again. Jessica sold more belongings. They were now deep in debt. Soon, arguments began. Nathan grew angry. Jessica became bitter. The once loving home turned cold. Neighbors avoided them. Jessica stopped going outside. Her business was gone. Her joy was gone. Matthew got sick again and again, each time worse than the last. One night, Nathan packed a small bag. He stood by the door and looked at Jessica and his son. They were asleep. By morning, Nathan was gone, and no one knew where he went. Jessica woke up to silence. The blanket beside her was empty. Nathan's shoes were gone. His bag was missing. He had left. No note. No goodbye. Her heart pounded. She searched the house, under the bed, behind the door, outside in the early morning fog. Nothing. "Nathan!" she screamed down the road. Only the cold wind answered. She fell to the ground, clutching her stomach, crying like her soul was breaking. "How could you leave us like this? I stood with you. Where you, Nathan?" Matthew cried weakly from inside. Jessica wiped her face and dragged herself up. She picked him up. His body burned with fever again. She had no money, no food, no one to call. Jessica, once admired, was now a shadow of herself. That day, she went to beg in front of a nearby shop. People who once respected her walked past, pretending not to see. One kind woman gave her gari and water. That night, she fed Matthew the watery porridge and rocked him to sleep. Then came a knock. She opened the door to see Papa Jonathan, her elderly neighbor. A quiet man people whispered about. They said he could see things others couldn't. He looked serious. "Jessica, is there someone else staying in this house with you?" She frowned. No. Just me and Matthew. He nodded slowly. I've been watching your house for weeks. At exactly 2 a.m., I see an old woman come out of your door. Jessica's skin froze. What? I thought maybe it was your mother. But people said you're an orphan. Jessica backed away. Her hands shook. I need to ask again, Papa Jonathan said, his voice low. Are you sure that baby inside your house is still only your child? Jessica stared at Matthew's tiny sleeping face. She sat down slowly, her knees trembling. Her heart beat so loud she could barely hear Papa Jonathan. What do you mean by that? She whispered. Papa Jonathan entered quietly, closed the door, and looked around. For 2 weeks now, I've watched this house from my veranda. Every night, at exactly 2 a.m., an old woman comes out from here, walking slowly like a shadow. Her eyes are black. Her feet don't touch the ground. Jessica's lips parted, but no words came out. He continued, she doesn't walk far. Just circles your compound, and disappears. I've seen this before. Jessica sat there frozen, clutching Matthew. Please, sir, what does it mean? He looked at her sadly. It means there's a spirit in this house. And it's tied to your child. Tears filled Jessica's eyes. Why my baby? What have I done? Papa Jonathan raised an eyebrow. Think well. Before you gave birth, did anything strange happen? Did anyone touch you, curse you, or give you a gift? Jessica went quiet. Then she remembered. The beggar woman. Her gentle hand, touching her stomach. Her strange smile. Jessica gasped and covered her mouth. Oh my God. She told Papa Jonathan everything. How she helped the beggar woman, how things changed afterward. He sighed deeply. The beggar was no ordinary woman. You helped a witch. And when you stopped giving, she punished you. Jessica began to cry. Papa Jonathan placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Don't cry yet. We still have a chance. But we must act fast. I'll return in 3 days, he said. At 2 a.m., we'll trap the spirit outside. But you must be strong. That night, she'll come angry. Jessica looked at her baby and whispered, What are you, Matthew? For the next 3 days, Jessica barely slept. She watched every shadow, jumped at every sound. She never left Matthew's side. She cleaned the house, threw out old clothes, and prayed non-stop. Her heart was full of fear, but also hope. If what Papa Jonathan said was true, maybe, just maybe, this nightmare could end. On the 3rd night, just before midnight, Papa Jonathan returned. He came with a small wooden box, a gourd of oil, palm fronds, and white chalk. He moved around the house, whispering incantations and drawing strange marks on the doors and windows. He placed a small clay pot beside Matthew's bed and lit a candle inside. Jessica watched quietly, her baby lying weakly in her arms. When he was done, Papa Jonathan turned to her. Now we wait. Will it be loud? She asked, her voice trembling. He looked her in the eyes. Yes. She will try everything. You must not open the door. No matter what you hear. No matter how much she cries. If you do, we lose. Jessica nodded. The clock struck 2 a.m. Suddenly, the wind outside grew violent. The candle flickered wildly. Then, scratching. Not from a rat. From fingernails. Long, dry, bony fingernails. On the front door. She's here, Papa Jonathan whispered. Jessica held Matthew tighter. He began to cry again, louder this time, like he could feel something was coming. Then came a voice. Jessica, let me in. You forgot me. It was the beggar's voice, but deeper, older, and full of rage. Jessica squeezed her eyes shut. Leave us alone. The scratching turned to banging. The windows shook. Let me finish what I started, the voice screamed. And then, they heard Matthew speak for the first time. But what he said chilled their blood. She's already inside. Jessica froze. Her hands trembled. Matthew just spoke. A 3-year-old child who had barely muttered "Mama" suddenly spoke in a deep, eerie voice. She's already inside. Papa Jonathan's eyes widened. Cover his ears. Hold him tight. Don't look into his eyes. Jessica held her son close. But when she looked into his face, he was smiling. Smiling, like the beggar used to smile. Then he began to speak again, only this time, it wasn't his voice. Jessica, I gave you everything. Money, peace, business. You betrayed me. Jessica screamed, Get out of my son, you witch. The house shook. Plates fell from the shelves. The candle blew out. Darkness. Total, heavy darkness. Jessica felt the air grow cold. So cold her fingers went numb. She could hear whispers circling her, getting louder. She fed me, then starved me. She loved me, then rejected me. The voice was everywhere. Papa Jonathan quickly grabbed his wooden box, lit another candle, and began chanting louder. He poured oil in a circle around Jessica and Matthew. The baby thrashed in her arms. Let me go. I belong to her. Jessica cried, You don't belong to her. You are my son. My only child. Suddenly, there was silence. Then, a loud scream. A woman's scream, so sharp it pierced the air like a blade. It came from every corner of the house. Then pounding on the door. Desperate. Furious. She's outside again, Papa Jonathan whispered. She's trapped. Jessica sobbed, holding Matthew tightly. His body went limp. His eyes rolled back. The spirit outside screamed one last time, If I can't have him, then no one will. The house shook violently, then the door burst open with a loud bang, but no one was there. Silence. After the door burst open, everything went still. No wind. No sounds. Not even Matthew's crying. Papa Jonathan stood completely still, his lips moving silently as he continued to pray. The candle flickered but did not go out again. Jessica sat on the floor, holding Matthew close to her chest, afraid to move, afraid to breathe. The old woman's scream no longer filled the room. Suddenly, Matthew stirred. He opened his eyes, not dark this time, but clear, soft, and calm. He blinked slowly. Mama, he whispered. Jessica gasped, tears pouring down her cheeks. Matthew? She asked gently. He nodded. No strange smile. No twisted voice. Just her baby. Finally. Papa Jonathan placed the last charm on the door, then turned to Jessica. It is done. She has been cast out. Jessica could barely believe it. She looked around the room. It felt lighter. Warmer. Safe. Then came a knock at dawn. It was a young boy from the neighborhood. He looked shaken. Mama Jessica, something happened oh. Jessica rushed out barefoot. At the junction not far from her house, people gathered. There, lying face down in the dust, was the old beggar woman, cold, lifeless, and still. No blood. No wound. Just dead. The villagers whispered, She died just before sunrise. Nobody knows where she came from. But Jessica knew. 3 days after the beggar's death, the air in the village felt different. Lighter. Brighter. As if a dark cloud had lifted and the wind was breathing peace again. Matthew was the first to change. He woke up on the 4th day with strength in his arms and color in his cheeks. His eyes sparkled with joy. He ran around the compound chasing butterflies, his laughter like music to Jessica's ears. She couldn't stop watching him. The same child she once begged God to heal now danced like nothing had ever touched him. She fell on her knees in the middle of the compound and wept, not out of sadness, but relief. Thank you, God. Thank you, she whispered. The village noticed. People came to see the miracle child. Some brought gifts. Others brought prayers. And many came just to say sorry for looking away when Jessica was suffering. The elders called a meeting and decided to help her restart her life. They raised money and gave her food items, shelves, and a small wooden stall. Jessica set it up beside her house, near the spot where her grinding machine used to be. She sold biscuits, soap, sugar, and little things the villagers needed. Within weeks, business was booming. Yet, something still ached inside her. Every evening, after closing her stall, Jessica sat on the same wooden stool at her doorway, staring into the path that led to the road. Waiting. Hoping. Praying. Nathan. Her heart called for him every night. No letter. No trace. No goodbye. Only his absence. Until one Sunday morning. Jessica was sweeping her compound when a figure limped through the village gate. He was thin, barefoot, his clothes torn and dusty. His hair was rough, and his face, unshaven. But even through the dirt and pain, Jessica knew. Her broom dropped from her hands. "Nathan," she said softly. The man stopped, his eyes full of tears. He fell to his knees. "I don't know how to explain it," he whispered. "I woke up in a strange town. They said I was mad. I was wandering the streets, sleeping under trees. I didn't even know my name. But yesterday morning, it was like something released me. My mind returned. And I remembered you. I remembered everything." Jessica dropped beside him. They held each other, sobbing. Years of pain melted in that moment. Matthew came out, holding a toy in his hand. He paused. He looked at the man kneeling beside his mother, tilted his head, and smiled. "Daddy," he said softly. Nathan broke again. He pulled his son close and kissed his forehead. "I'm so sorry. I'm home now. I'm home." That day, neighbors gathered and cried with them. It was a celebration of love, of freedom, of faith restored. The house that once held pain now overflowed with joy. The curse was broken. The witch was gone. The family was whole, and this time, no darkness could steal their light again.